Well, what a weekend to finish us off in the Stiles Electrical Premier League. It was massive. There were goals, there were upsets, there were lost opportunities. It was massive. We cannot wait to bring you today's show right here on the Hockey Hour in a new look format. Jane and I on an online call for this week's episode. I am up in Darwin. Jane is still back home, but I am happy with this. I think it's been okay.
Yeah, it's a nice setup. And we match.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Great.
Celebrating our first online running of the show. We normally would go to a little studio and get the fancy video, but you've got the frontal shots of Jane and I this week, so I'm hoping we pass the looks test for everyone, but maybe just listen to it on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts, and you'll get the audio. But of course, Jase Gabriel is my name, and former hockey Roo Jane Claxton joining me. You had a bye on the weekend.
Oh,
you're seeing. Did you miss it? Oh no,
no, I didn't. I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
No, just
Although it's sad because obviously going into we knew our season was over, but yeah, it was. I honestly the whole weekend I had anxiety that I had to be somewhere. I was thinking, what am I meant to be doing? So that was lovely.
I love it. Brilliant. You, Joe, of course, as always, will go through the Hockey WA news. We'll get to your mailbag questions and some really good questions. We will go through the wrap of the final round of the Stiles Electrical Premier League. It was, if you were an avid supporter or watcher or a neutral supporter of this Premier League, the men and the women, it was an exciting weekend. There was so much happening.
I actually think Altius crashed over the weekend because I was refreshing so much, and then it just said page doesn't function anymore. So too many people were also invested.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. I have seen that before, but I can't remember how long ago it was. But yeah, if it's crashing, it means people are on it. We are going to chat to Tim Geers, one of our favourites on the show, about his club Melville and their run into the finals to actually making it. We will chat to Jane. We'll have an Inside the Circle segment and get her info on the inside life of a hockey roo or a kookaburra. And for extra time, we're going to chat about the upcoming Oceania Cup and, well, whether Oceania should merge with Asia. So stick around for that, or if you'd like to listen to that first, you're welcome to fast forward. And then come back to the news, which we're going to get to now. But Jane, a veteran kookaburra trio set to spearhead the 2026 World Cup campaign.
Yeah, I totally forgot that they kind of, moved on and hadn't announced this leadership team. But Jeremy Hayward, Tim Howard and Josh Belts have been announced as co-captains for the Australian men's team until 2026 FIA World Cup campaign. So that's obviously next year. All very experienced, obviously, either in leadership roles or in terms of playing history. They'll be in front of the team for the rest of 2025, which is Oceania Cup, and then leading obviously into Pro League and then eventual World Cup, which is quite exciting. Obviously, Jeremy's been in a senior leadership role for the group for quite some time in kind of the house stuff. But first time for Josh and Tim. So yeah, it's quite exciting that, I guess, when you first get voted in by your team members and recognised for your leadership quality.
Yeah, it's congratulations to all three, and three very good leaders, I'm sure. So great to see, or I'm looking forward to seeing, I should say, how they exercise their role over the weekend here in Darwin for the Oceania Cup. The Boroughs squad has been named for the Sultan of Johor Cup. That's been announced. 18 players for WA. Pat Andrew, Matt Edwards and Ian Grobbler have been named, and that'll be held in October, which will be essentially the Boroughs' last opportunity before the Junior World Cup. And in the Junior World Cup, the Boroughs will take on France, Korea and Bangladesh in Pool F, as, of course, this year the Junior World Cup is expanded with more nations being involved. So do you like that? 24 teams?
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
It's a lot.
Definitely. I know Southern Johor is a huge opportunity for the boroughs to kind of play together. You don't get many the Australian junior tournaments or squad prior to World Cups. Often you're turning up to a World Cup kind of fresh and not really molded. You might have a few, I guess, training camps, but they'll be real huge for them to kind of solidify their way of play and also selection into Junior World Cup.
It's a great place to play as well because the locals absolutely get behind it. I'm looking to Hayden Pease from the Brisbane Blades. He's up here just playing some Northern Territory, some Territory Stingers games against the Black Sticks, and he was saying when he was at Johor, like it was so loud, like it was very difficult to hear teammates and things like that. So it's such an electric experience for the players to get being in such a brilliant stadium that's going to be out with just hockey lovers and drums and just all the things that Asian hockey supporters bring. So huge opportunity for the boroughs. Well, that's all for the news this week, Jane. Let's get to the mailbag. We've got 3 questions. We're going to start with the first one. Good mate of mine, Cam Hopkins, member of the Hot was written in. He is I know he's an avid Fremantle supporter, so he'll be very happy at the moment with his beloved Dockers and hoping they can get a victory this weekend. But he writes in and says, hockey is one of the few truly inclusive global sports where the men's and women's games are treated on an equal footing and celebrated equally. At the same time, many other sports deliberately use gender-specific equipment to help athletes showcase their skills at the highest level. For example, AFLW plays with a smaller, lighter ball. Basketball, cricket, volleyball, hurdles, and rugby all adjust equipment or rules to reflect the physiological differences and enhance the spectacle. What might the women's game look like if we introduced a slightly lighter outdoor ball, perhaps only a few grams less, similar to an indoor ball, to potentially boost the ball speed, extend the range of overheads, making dribbling easier, and enhance drag flicking? I'd be really interested to hear your perspectives on whether this could improve skill expression and entertainment, or whether the current unified ball is the better path forward. Great question.
Yeah, and very detailed. I love how much he's thought about different aspects and different sports. That's a hard one, though. I like that we have a sport that's, so equal across genders and so diverse. And I think that's something that we shouldn't give up too easily. And I don't think the weight will largely impact women's hockey, because we do play with light balls at training when we're doing penalty corners so that we don't injure each other. And I find it harder. I find it so hard when we're playing with like the little Joey balls. I think and it's so much harder because they move so much quicker, and so it would be definitely a big adjustment.
It would certainly increase the speed of the game, right? Because of the lightness of the ball. Look, I think it's a good idea, but I would be almost daunted in being proud that we are, we are keeping it equal. I think there's no doubt that a lighter ball would increase everything for how the skill set works. So that's I think a no-brainer. I think the adjustment would be incredibly difficult, and it would probably take a good maybe month or 2 to really get used to it. I mean, think about the goalkeepers as well. Like essentially now a ball is coming probably faster at them as well. So that's a big adjustment for them. I know in AFLW it is a hot topic, the weight, the size of the ball. Kate McCarthy, who's a former AFLW player, played in the Legends game last week, and she said absolutely loved ball, the men's ball. I think it's a size 5, and that the girls should be using it. I'd love to see the girls use it. I just think, why not? I know with cricket that they bring the ropes in, but I've seen girls clear the ropes. They clear it by the way. So I think same thing. I think if you can keep it the same, and I think we should as hockey. I'm pretty staunch on that. I don't see. You think about Luciana Amer, probably one of the best like skill sets in the world, like she would rinse a lot of the guys, right? And there's no difference. So I would imagine Gibby Jansen would flick past a lot of the guys too. So the men's goalkeepers. So I don't think we should change. Like, albeit to answer Cam's question, 100%, it would be it would speed up the game so much more.
Yeah. And I also think we've got to appreciate that women's and men's hockey is very different in how we play it. Like, notoriously, women's hockey is more about the finesse and the way of play and the strategy, and men's hockey develops that speed, like agility, fast pace. Like, I think we're quite good at being yin and yang and showing that a sport can have diversity and be played very differently, but still inherently the same sport.
Yeah. And I think that what I love about that is that to the naked eye, people don't actually realize that, right? It's only if you're like an absolute, coaching expert or, well, I wouldn't put this in that category.
I know, I thought you were about to say coaching. I mean, hockey nerd, not coaching.
Well, yeah, let's go with...
We are definitely not coaching.
Yes, let's go with hockey nerd. If you're hockey nerds like us, then you understand that there is a slight difference. But I think to the naked eye, people don't understand. And that's what I love about our sport. It is, it's the same strategy. Get to the tee spots, get to the baseline entry. It, open side play. It works, doesn't matter whether it's men or women. So I think that's a brilliant question, Cam. We appreciate the evidence provided as well to back up your question and your thoughts. Love that you've given some great thought into that. So thank you for the question. Rowan Ramesh 21, I think is from memory. I think he is a return mailbagger. So thank you for another question, Rowan. If you could add a new team to the Hockey One League, what team would it be? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, there is some debate, I know, currently about this. And I'm kind of on the fence. I'm like, do we invite kind of a New Zealand team, junior team? Do we go international and get like our Asian counterparts and offer them kind of like a development team? I do really like the idea of that. And however, I would like them to obviously give our kids some way to the community and the tournament, so allowing some local players to also play in their teams. So how that would work would be really hard. But obviously having a team that represents each state, like we don't have a lot of territory currently. So I think that's probably the first protocol before we start extending the invites elsewhere.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Obviously being up here in Darwin and seeing what they're doing in regards to trying to build their junior base. Of course, it's been lost however long. I think 8
years.
I want to say 2018 was the last time that the Stingers were in an AHL. So they have worked incredibly hard to even just get a team to join the Malaysian Hockey League, men and women's team. And they, I think, should be given the first opportunity to get the next franchise, or to be given the next franchise option, because it's a national competition and we want to keep it national first before we go internationally. And I don't want to see a point where we don't get to see the next Brooke Peris or the next Jeremy Hayward. Like, I would love to see that. I would love the Territorians have a rich history of Olympians and gold medalists. Obviously, Mark Hickman and Nova Peris come to mind straight away. But they've got...
Currently, you have one of the top in the men's league in Perth. Zach Rackus is from Northern Territory, and so you're already dominating the WA league. So imagine if we can cultivate some more people in that vein. The top NT stars. Yeah,
I would love to see that. So, yeah, for me, it has to be the Stingers or Northern Territory. I think they got knocked back at the start of this year. I don't know too much about the background of why they got knocked back, but I understand that they're trying to put forward, to be competitive, a team that has some Malaysian internationals that play within it as well. so that they are competitive, which makes sense. And that probably crosses the path of what you were talking about. It's Northern Territory / Malaysian Stingers, and that supports them through playing in the competition, and that way, they're not uncompetitive, I suppose, when they get an opportunity. So there's definitely a lot of work being done from being here and being at the grand finals, Northern Territory grand finals here. There are some very, very talented players here, and they're all sort of working their way through. So I'm really hoping that's the next opportunity. Rowan, great question. Thank you very much. Anon, our beloved Anon.
Our beloved Anon.
Who's been the toughest opponent you've ever had to play on?
Wow. Yeah, I saw this today, and I would like to go against, could say an international club, and go to the Dutch and say one of their superstars. But really, the Dutch one-on-one, that's not the issue. It's how they play as a team. And so that's what makes them so difficult. Like, if they only had one of them on that team, you could probably compete. But my biggest flashback was actually to my junior days of actually getting my what you probably could say something rude here, but whatever handed to you, was I was playing in under 15s against New South Wales, and I was playing against a girl called Jade Warrender.
Yes,
centre half. Yeah, I was playing her opposing centre half, and I've never played against someone that was so far beyond their peers, and I had no answer. I could not do anything to her, to defend her, to get past her. And from that moment onward, I was like, I want to be exactly like her. I want to be that good that people come up against me and so annoyed and to play against, and you can't get past them, and they're just so elite. And I never got to her skill level. She was by far one of the most skillful centre half that I've come across. But yeah, I think I always think about that game against her, and I was like, God, she is so much better than me. And I hate admitting when people are better than me. But I always get flashbacks to that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can probably, attest to someone similar. I probably wouldn't have played on them directly very often, but playing against Eddie Ockenden is unbelievably difficult, especially in the Stiles Electrical Premier League when he was playing, and I think he actually played a few games for playing him this year. He is just so hard to play against. You can just never get the ball off him. And then he'll pass, and then he'll get it back, and then you have to go and chase in. It would make you look like he would make the best players look like cones, right? But imagine being me trying to tackle him. It's just it was very rare. And then he would just know when to win a free hit, or he'd always have an out if he got stuck. And and he was like that. Eddie's my age, and we played juniors together, and he played an under 18s tournament, I think, when we were 17-year-olds. So we were 1 year younger, and he dominated that tournament. He was so good as an underager. You couldn't get the ball off him. And then the following year, I think he played 21s and then made the Junior World Cup team, and then his career obviously skyrocketed from there. And thankfully, he never played 18s in our actual age group, because he would have just tore it apart. But he was just incredible, and someone who did it as a teenager and then continued to do it. Probably he's probably still doing it in Tassie, where I assume he's playing at the moment. So Eddie for me, that's for sure.
And as a spectator, you don't realise how good he is, I don't think, until you do get him, because he makes it look so easy. So it's I would have done that, because you can see from the crowd. But until you play against someone like him, this is actually really annoying.
Yep, he is. Yep, just so hard to play against. Ed. That is all for the mailbag this week. Make sure you look out for when Hockey WA posts their Instagram story to submit more of your questions. Thank you to those that have submitted, Cam and Rowan and Anon. We very much appreciate your questions. So make sure you send us some more, and keep thinking outside the box. We love the ones that make us think outside the box a little bit, and make us really, push our allegiance or opinion one way or the other. All right, Jane, let's have a look at this.
Oh, what a weekend.
I think round 18 of the Stiles Electrical Premier League. Let's start with the girls.
Yep.
And we started with the top of the table clash between Westside Wolves and Lions, and it was Lions who got up 2-1. Georgina Dowd and Maria Guastavino on the scoreboard. Maddie Naish got one late in the 56th minute, but I believe there might have been one that potentially was even later, Jane.
Yeah, very controversial, non-award of a goal in the last few moments of the game, apparently. I was coming from a non-hockey person, so their description of it was, I think the free hit was taken too quickly. And I was like,
okay.
I think there's more to that story, but so I think, and obviously Wolves had a lot of outs, and they goal scorer Maddie Rithwick, not there.
Just seen that.
And obviously no hockey rules either side. So this is going to be exciting when they, come together in the
Yeah. I think Maddie makes probably a pretty big difference, especially from penalty corner wise and just probably field play wise. So, but a great result for Lions to maybe just notch ahead of Westside Wolves in the race to the premiership. We go to the next game of the round, Vic Park, with a comfortable 3-0 victory over Wasps. Beatrice Monga-Maloney, Georgia Wilson and Ellie Davies scoring for Vic Park. That'll finish off Wasps season, unfortunately, and Vic Park push on to the finals. It was a 2-1 victory to Melville over Raiders to finish their season on a high. Asai and Gemma Green scoring for Melville, and Harriet Chin on the scoreboard for Raiders. Probably good reward for Melville. They've been pretty good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have. So I'm glad they came out the good side of that.
We go to Sunday, and it was an absolute mauling at Stenton, I should say, between YMCC and Hale. Hale winning the game 13-1. Ashley Muir on the scoreboard for YMCC, and Hale 5 goals to Shanae Haywood, 2 to Tyler Pedley, 2 to Mickey Spano, and then singles to Alyssa Melville, Sienna Joubert, Lene Milan, and Kirst Dwyer. So just
rough and
it's not the way you want to have your last game, is it?
Yeah, no, poor things. But obviously, I think they were really only missing Maddie Pitts because they had one of them. So, not the best way to be finishing the season.
No, but Hale just fine-tuning themselves before. So, look out for what they can do. Final game of the round was an 8-0 victory for UWA over Whitfords. Funny enough, it was only 1-0 at half-time.
Yeah.
And it was a great result. And UWA had the benefit of Lex Pickering because of her non-selection for Oceania. And obviously, Whitfords had Maddie Brooks due to the same reason. But it was 3. Well, Lexi would essentially made the difference. 3 to her, 1 to Maddie De Silva, 1 to Bella Ramshaw. Jess Butterworth got a single. Nasa Flynn with a double. And again, UWA making sure they get on the right side of the ledger come finals time. So we look at the final ladder for the season after 20 games, Jane. It is Lions who go to the top. They finally have got there and finally have knocked off Westside Wolves. They're actually equal on points, but Lions have a significant goal difference. I think about 17 goals ahead of Westside Wolves. So Wolves now will have to play Hale in the game this weekend, who finished in 3rd, Vic Park 4th, and UWA 5th, which we knew was going to happen all weekend. So the games this weekend, Jane, just the
Gosh, that's going to be tight. UWA probably have the upper hand
Yes.
with having at least one of
Yes.
their Hockeyroos there. So that will be an interesting matchup, I think. Big Park
The
still
elimination.
quality out there. Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do. Elimination final. So, yeah, UWA and Vic Park. Of course, I will pledge my allegiance to my club.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they can get...
Yeah, I'll go for Vic as well.
You're going to go Vic Park as well?
I don't like the leaks and the growing at the leaks.
It's going to be a tough ask.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a tough. But yeah, Vic Park have been putting some good hockey out there.
And then the qualifying final, the one to go on to play Lions in the midweek fixture to go to the grand final first, will be Westside Wolves and Hale.
Yes.
Do you have intel on whether Maddie's back for this game?
I think it's a compulsory 2-week break. So so she might be right on the cusp, but it depends on symptoms because you kind of 2 weeks starts again when you're she was hospitalized. So I think it's quite a significant hit.
Okay. It probably changes. If Maddie doesn't play, probably go with Hale, but if she does, we go with Wolves.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hale too. I was impressed with how they played in the round games recently.
Okay.
So,
two big finals this weekend. Let's go to the men because, geez Louise, it'll have to be men as well.
So
now we spoke about last week's game on the show with Joss, and that Mods and Wasps bench got postponed due to the turf at Guildford. And we said, well, there was no point in playing the game because it would likely have been played this week and both teams can't make finals. And there was probably no point playing the game, just call it a draw, whatever it is. I think that may have been attempted to happen, but they ended up playing the game last, I think, Tuesday. And they ended up playing it at PHS, which obviously Mods were happy with. And became an 8-2 victory for Wasps over Mods. 3 to Chad Davies, 2 to Sean Shackley, singles to Lockie Sampson, Brandon Gibbs and Brenda Best, and then singles to Robbie Horn and Jamie Tritton. So that was the end of the penultimate round. Then we go to this final round. It was Mods Old Guildford again going up against Westside Wolves in the first game. 11-0 was the score to Wolves. There were 5 yellow cards in the last quarter. I'm not sure what was going on, but yellow cards a lot.
What are they doing?
I don't know, but I feel like, well, Mods had them in the 50th and the 57th and 59th. So they finished the game with 9 players.
But also like the scoreline by then, I don't know, it just doesn't warrant having.
I know. It must have been a bit of argy-bargy, but hat-trick to Tom Harvey, a double to Matt Edgar, and then singles to Dane Gavranich, Aaron Kleinschmidt, Will Biased, Fletcher Netherway, Lockie Kane, and Pat Andrews. So Wolves finish their season with a comprehensive victory. We go to the game at Fremantle Coburn, and this was one of the games to watch. Reds had to win to make the finals or give themselves a chance to make finals. Fremantle had to win to secure top spot. Reds defeated them 5-3. It was a double to Brodie Foster and to Zach Rackets, and Aaron Zalewski got himself on the scoreboard, and then a double to Aaron Hazel and 1 to Harrison Keimer. So only the second loss of the season in Fremantle Coburn, which is just incredible.
Yeah, honestly, going into this, I had my doubts about Reds, and then at halftime it was 2-2, and it was nerve-wracking. But then 3 quick goals going into late in the third. Yeah, suddenly a lot of confidence going into the fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. It was 2-2 at halftime, so it would have been a cracking game of hockey to watch. But then that set up the rest of the weekend as to what potentially could happen. So Melville needed to play their part. They defeated North Coast Raiders 7-0, and we kind of saw that coming. 3 to James Day, a double to Ben Staines, 1 to Matt Willison, Ollie McGill. They needed that to secure their spot, which they did. Then we'll talk to Tim Geers about that and probably the YM game as well, because that was just as important. We go to the Vic Park game against Wasps, and Vic Park had the opportunity to go top because this was later on after the Fremantle-Coburn game. So a win for them would see them finish on top, and they couldn't get it done. A 5-4 victory, the Wasps over Vic Park, a double to Sean Shackley, and then singles to Zed Kernan, Connor Otterback, and Dan Rainey. And then one to Matt Dawson, one to Sam Kerr, and then Jake Wetton and Kurt Skaney got on the scoreboard late, but all to no avail for the Panthers. They gave up their opportunity to finish on top. So that opened another can of worms.
Yeah.
As we go to Sunday, and
every Reds person was just going, "Come on, Hale."
Yes, they certainly were, because a victory to Hale would have seen Reds stay in the finals. YMCC needed to win and break a 3-game losing streak, and they did. 3-2. They were up 3-0 at three-quarter time, and then 2 in the final quarter for Hale. But they got there. Jesse Regan, Liam Hart, and Kobe Ashford scoring for YMCC. Ian Grobbler and Jack Pearce on the scoreboard for Hale. So that meant YMCC secured their spot in the finals. It came down to the last game of the season with Whitfords and UWA at the Troy Pickard Hockey Centre. A win for UWA would see them leapfrog both Vic Park and Fremantle-Coburn to go to the top of the ladder. As they took it, they took the opportunity and said, "Thanks very much, gents. We will finish ourselves on top." A 4-1 victory. Fraser Hay on the scoreboard for Whitfords. And then Ethan Yem, Chris Borza, Max Hittens, and Flynn Ogilvie on the scoreboard for UWA. So the final look at the ladder sees Fremantle-Coburn knocked off top spot for the, knocked off top spot for the first time this year. They finished on level points similar to the girls with UWA, but a superior goal difference for UWA sees them finish on top. Those draws probably come back to hurt Fremantle-Coburn just a little bit, but fantastic season nonetheless. Like 2 losses is just absolutely incredible. Like that's a very, very, very good season. But they finished themselves.
Missed a few players in the last few weeks due to injury.
They did.
The finals campaign for them. Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a big final series for them. So UWA finished on top. Fremantle-Coburn dropped to second. Vic Park dropped to third. And then YMCC get there with their victory, finishing in fourth, and Melville on a 6-goal difference stay ahead of Reds on 39 points. So that sees the elimination final, a replay of a couple of weeks ago. YMCC and Melville go at it again, Jane.
And I am sort of backing Melville. I think we'll obviously chat later on about how difficult it's going to be for them coming from 5th to get to the final. But I liked how they performed against YMCC. We commentated their match. And so I think they've finally got some stability across their lines with people coming back in after injury and things like that. So, and YMCC obviously have relied on a lot of their kookaburras who they won't have this game. So, I sort of like could Melville break this drought of coming from 5th to the top.
It'll be interesting. I did notice that Graham Begbie was on the list last for the game on the weekend, champion of the YMCC Hockey Club and former Kookaburra. He was playing on the grass earlier this year with I think it's the I think they're Metro. They're like a Metro grade. Because I remember going to watch the Vic Park Metro guys and they were playing YMCC and he was playing. So he's been called up from the grass grades to come back to the Premier League. And have no doubt would have helped them on the weekend to get the result they needed. But he'll be an interesting factor in the game, depending on where they're playing him. But I probably think Melville will get the job done again over YMCC.
Yeah. Yep.
The other game, the qualifying final now becomes Vic Park and Fremantle-Coburn. Neither team has beaten the other this year. It was a 4-4 or a 5-5 draw for round one. and then a comeback score after the siren draw in the penultimate round of the season. So no one's actually won against each other. So this is going to be a cracking game too.
Yeah, sort of want to back Big Pa, but I think Freo might be really angry.
Yep.
And it should make
Don't doubt that.
Very.
I don't doubt they'll be fuming.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't want to be Big Pa, you know?
Yep. Going to be a big weekend. Yeah, of course, I'm going to back the boys in to get the job done. But yeah, it's going to be a huge weekend of finals. All the Premier League teams are going to be playing. So all games will be at the Perth Hockey Stadium. So make sure you get down over the weekend to go and check out some finals hockey because it's going to be very, very exciting. This will be finals this weekend and then the midweek games and then obviously preliminary finals before we get to a huge grand final day at the Perth Hockey Stadium, Jane. It's
thrilling.
A huge couple of weeks. So make sure you get out and support your club.
Hockey WA is thrilled to have the continued support of Stiles Electrical Services as the naming rights sponsor of the 2025 Premier League men's and women's competitions. With over 25 years of experience in sports lighting, Stiles Electrical Services is committed to supporting hockey's growth in WA by assisting clubs with floodlighting upgrades and strengthening pathways for athlete development. Their ongoing support will help enhance one of the world's strongest domestic hockey competitions, and we cannot thank them enough for their support. Visit stileselectrical.com.au to find out more about Stiles Electrical and how they can help your club.
It's time to chat to one of the players from the league, and we've got one of our absolute favourites here on the Hockey Hour. He's been a guest, he's been a host, he's been absolutely everything in between. Welcome back, Tim Geers.
Yeah, thanks, Jase, and hi, Jane. Thanks for having me back.
Awesome to have you.
We won't ask you your coffee order because I'm fairly certain we've asked that last time, but has it changed? Have you changed in between?
Nah, it's not standard, flat white, half a sugar, full cream milk.
Boring. Righto.
Yeah. Love it though. Better than
we'll get it.
I'm not a fan of the almond milks or the oat milks or the decafs or half strength extra shot. No.
But like it. Well played. No, that's fine. Boring's okay. Big game 2 weekends ago. Now, obviously, you played Raiders on the weekend, but I want to go back to 2 weeks ago because that was a fairly big clash for you guys. A win would really propel you into the 5, knowing that you had Raiders on the weekend, and you came up trumps 4-2. It was a fantastic game of hockey. Jane and I commentated that game. Tell us about what you had talked about up into the game and obviously throughout that game to make sure you came away with the points.
Yeah, that probably loomed as our grand final a little bit earlier than we probably hoped, but obviously knew the context of the game and that we probably had to win for any sniff of making finals. But the conversations really probably started 6 or 7 weeks ago on the bye, or the mid-season break, I should say, around where we were, what we were trying to do for the end of the year, and the sort of best position ourselves. So it was a big lead into that game, but yeah, obviously a big focus on YM. They put us in round 1 of the season. We're obviously aware that the would have Anderson and Tupu Burns available as well, albeit they were missing a few guys. But yeah, for us, it was really getting back to the fundamentals of our game, which is a really strong structure and defensive game first, and then try and build our attack off that. Probably been a little bit inconsistent throughout the year in terms of that. It's probably been the thing that's really stood the test of time over the last 5 or 6 years. Just how good defensively we've been, and I think we're still the best defensive team in the comp in terms of goals conceded. It was a real focus for us going into that game, and just making sure that we managed their threats, which were, the fast breaks. They've got a lot of speed. Friedman in the middle, Cooper up front, Lockie Anderson up front, just to name a few. So just preparing ourselves as well as possible for that, and then we're confident if we can miss that, then we're just how to sort of hurt them at the other end.
Yeah. Impressive start to the game. I think YM threw everything at you the first quarter, and we were both like, oh God, Mel, we're in for a fight here. But I think, yeah, as you mentioned, I think your structural integrity and like consistency in performance really showed throughout the game. And then by the end, you guys didn't. And there was probably no doubt in the end that you were going to come out and pop and really dominate the performance. It's nice.
You
I think we had to harbour it. Like, we had to face a few penalty corners early in the first quarter, I think, from memory.
Yeah.
We've had that a little bit in our game this year. In fact, I went through and looked at all our stat defensively and for penalty corners for the year. And albeit we're a really strong defensive team, we do sort of in some games give up a lot of corners, but that may also be a result of re-awards as well. But I think we're defending it about let's think about 1 in every 7 at the moment for penalty corners against us. So
yeah, your first running was honestly like the lifesaver. I think, who was your first runner on that weekend?
Frank. Is it Frank?
Yeah.
maybe Frank or Jake Stain.
Frank
might have
or Jake. Yep.
Yeah, it was honestly
like to run one down when Jake broke. Thanks.
Well, to be honest, I remember that, and I said, "Well, it looks like Tim might have to run here, so there's a big opportunity for him."
I try not to have to do that these days, but it ended up going in anyway off the rebound. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was a good result for us, and probably one of the better displays for the year, to be honest. And we just carried that into the Raiders game on the weekend. So hopefully that sets us up well for business end of the year.
Yeah, you guys have kind of, I think, probably mid-year, Jase and I were chatting about Melbourne, when you had a really great start and there was that lull, and you had a lot of obviously ins and outs with guys going to international commitments or injuries and things like that. Did that buy around mentioned kind of a checkpoint to go, okay, what's our performance looking like? What do we have to do for these 6 weeks to actually solidify our spots? What were those conversations like?
Yeah, spot on. And it's been a little bit of an indifferent year, Jalen. Like, I think something that we've had in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years has been remarkable consistency, not only in results, but from playing personnel. And we've played a lot of hockey together, and we introduced, obviously, Jay McDonald and Kieran Arthur came into the team this year. So they're 2 people that, fit into the group. We welcome Mitch missed the whole year through injury. St. Reynolds missed last year. So, there have been a few changes throughout the group, and then even throughout the course of the season. Like, we didn't see Jake Staines basically until 6 weeks ago. Ben Staines been in and out a bit. Davis Atkins been in and out a bit with the Kookaburras. We unfortunately haven't any games from Tim Brand or Lockie Sharp, our 2 Kookaburras players. We're the only team in the comp with single players. So, adding Willis spent 5 or 6 weeks on the sideline. I've missed some games. Kieran's missed some games. Sam, unfortunately, ruptured his Achilles. All year, it's sort of been in and out and in and out. And we've just lacked that consistency a bit. And so I think what you've probably seen in the last month or 6 weeks is, with the consistency of personnel available, we're probably now just starting to see the fruits, hopefully.
It's probably a scary thought for the remaining 4 teams in the finals, knowing that you guys have made it, because like you said, throughout the season you've had so many people in and out, and for the last 3 or 4 weeks at least, you've had a set group with the potential to have Lockie, Sharp and Brandy potentially back, depending on how you go this weekend, depending on where they go and what they're doing. But I guess as seasoned finals campaigners, what do you think it's going to take to win this final series?
Yeah, probably won't see Sharpie or Brandy, unfortunately. I think they jet off to Germany straight after Oceania, but we've known that for a while. We started suck because I think when they're fit and firing, they're probably 2 of the best 3 or 4 players in the country, to be honest. And when they play together at club level, it almost makes us fun. So we'll have to go without, but that, we've known that for a while. I think we just have to lean on our finals experience, to be honest. Like, I've looked back through all of our games from, I think, 2017, just to see sort of where we start. And in the last 5 years, I think we've played 9 finals. We've won 6 of them. 2 of those are grand finals. And of the 3 we lost, 1 was by a goal, 1 was in a shootout last year. And the anomaly was the game against Ale in the grand final where they smoked us. So, I'd like to think that's an outlier. That were pretty hard to beat on that day. So, for us, I mean, look, we're pretty realistic. Like, it's very hard to win the grand final from 5th position. no team in the last decade's won from outside the top three. So the double champs really does come in very handy. But for us, I think the first goal was just making the fight. And then, I think you're right. Like, a few teams will probably be looking at us going in, would rather not play them, just because on that day, we're a bloody hard team to beat. We're really good.
I agree.
And we've got the experience to play in the last 4 grand finals. So we've got a lot of very experienced seasoned players that have been there before. So for us, it's not so much of the anxiety around that. It's more so just the opportunity that we've get from earlier in the season, to be perfectly honest, that looked a bit unlikely. So for us, it's just about taking it one game at a time, so we can really do it.
Yeah, you have so many threats out there. It's going to be really hard. They can't over-defend an overhead because then you've got speed in the midfield, and then they don't want to concede corners. It's going to be a nightmare. But basically, me and Jase were discussing what's the best position to finish, and we did say fifth is the worst. Maybe you break the team that breaks the draft.
Yeah, I hope so. And the speed in the midfield you're alluding to is definitely not for me. So
you never know. You never know. Maybe. And on a more personal note, obviously, previously when we were interviewing you going into the under-21s campaign, we mentioned obviously you'd been a part of the AIS National Generations 2032 coach program, and now you're the assistant coach of the Thundersticks women. One, I really want to know what it's like going from coaching men to women, but also kind of how the prep's gone, the new faces that are coming into the group, obviously some faces departing the group to play in other franchises. What's that whole transition been?
Yeah, interesting, really enjoyable so far, actually. I sort of had a couple of big decisions to make earlier in the year. Obviously, my focus was fully on the 21s program. And then when I got out of there, I sort of had a strategic think about where I was, what I wanted to do, and what was best for me in my career going forward, really. I played 9 years for the 76 men and went straight into coaching role with that group last year. I just think for me, as well as probably, to be honest, some of the players in the playing group, having a year out of the program is not the worst thing for all of us. And I think it was a really good opportunity for me to transition into the space of women's hockey, which I haven't had great experience in. And thankfully, Steph Andrews, as the head coach, offered me an opportunity to come on board. And so when I put everything on the table and had a really critical think about not just, this year, but going beyond, it was an opportunity that I thought would be a really good one to make use of. And so far, I've really enjoyed it. It's very different. I've got a very different relationship to, with the girls than what I do with some of the boys who I've coached for 5 or 6 years, those 8 years. Whereas the girls, it's basically clean slate. But equally, that's been a really enjoyable thing trying to learn. And one thing about myself that I try and do is to be as curious as possible and just to throw myself in. And so they've been really welcoming to me. This is a group that won the league last year. So I certainly haven't just walked in thinking I know everything. It's quite the opposite, actually. Just try and sit and listen and learn as much as possible, and then just offer, little bits and pieces along the way where I can contribute. But Steph and the rest of the coaching group, Em Halliday, Ash Nelson, they've been fantastic in welcoming me in. And to touch on some of the players, obviously the group lose Ava from last year, who had a really significant impact, not only on the group, but in Western Australia for the short time she was here. But it was really cool to hear the girls reflect the other night on sort of the impact they had, and then taking that forward into this year, and not just Eva was here and now she's gone. It's more about what can we learn from the time that she was here and what did she bring to our group, and can we turn it forward for this season. So with that said, we get players like Sarah Burns back, who's been in fantastic form in the club competition. She was over playing in Europe last year. So she's certainly been in great form from everything that I've seen. And the vibe around the group are terrific. And we're just waiting now till Oceania Cup finishes, and then we welcome 5 or 6 of the Hockey Roos girls back in and really go full throttle in the lead up to round 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting hockey one. Obviously, you've got that grudge match, I suppose, grand final replay straight up. So it's going to be a fiery start to the campaign, but I'm really excited to see what happens with the group this year. I think, if anything, it's going to blood some younger players, but also It's great to see someone like Maddie Radcliffe come back and play, and she's been exceptional this year in the club competition. So another person who could be a real leader within the group. And you definitely know something about defending titles, mate. So it is certainly something that hopefully follows you follows you into the Thunderstick women's program.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And yeah, you're spot on, Maddie Radcliffe. It's great to have her in Thunderstick colours. She's an elite player in the club competition, and obviously in her time with the Hockey Roos as well. So she's been an awesome addition, and yeah, hopefully, I can bring one thing to the group and how to defend a title, and I'll be happy with that, and I'm probably will be. So.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you so much for your time on this different platform and different show that we've got going on today. But I really appreciate it. And look, I'd love to wish you all the best for the finals, but being my team is also part of it, I'll wish you some luck for this weekend, and hopefully we don't have to play you. But no, it's been a really exciting to watch the Melville boys over the last 5-6 seasons, and you are just preparing for a different approach at this year's finals, but one that I'm sure everyone at the club is very excited for. So, mate, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Absolute pleasure coming on.
Great to have Geersy on, Jane. Coaching career going very, very well, and still being able to play at the top level. It's a difficult thing to juggle, right? Like the amount of time he's playing and applying to the Premier League and trying to win another premiership with Melville. But it seems obviously his focus is on his coaching, and big things are happening for him.
Yeah, and it's exciting for women's hockey to have someone like him transition across and steal him away from the boys, because, yeah, as we mentioned, he has already achieved so much success. So clearly there's a recipe there that he's worked on for a while that hopefully transitions to hockey as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's chat about Inside the Circle this week. Our segment where we dive into Jane's history with the Hockey Roos and find out all the things that you as listeners would like to know about the Hockey Roos and the Kookaburras, and what happens in the background outside of them obviously training and being on the field. And it's nice timing because we obviously have the Oceania Cup coming up this weekend. So there is both teams up in Darwin, where obviously I am at the moment. So let's talk about life on tour. Let's probably more talk about, when you go on big European tour, because obviously that's about 3 or 4 weeks away. The girls went obviously for Pro League earlier in June, and it's a long time away, right? So there's lots of uni stuff to put on hold and work and things like that. So let's just start from the start. The plane, the buses, the travel, the actually getting there.
Oh,
It can be a long time, but tell us about the experience.
yeah. I think that's the worst part of the trip, the travel days. Because once you're there and you're settled into the hotel and you're in your own rhythm, it's fun. You can make of it what you will. But I hate plane travel. Like, I'm not a scared fly, but I just hate being confined in space with random humans spreading their germs onto you. And I always get sick after plane rides, so that was lovely also. But notoriously, obviously, traveling in large groups, and now with Pro League, men's and women's team travel together. So you have usually just one manager trying to hoard all of these people into getting to the airport on time, checking in, making sure people have their passports, the right visas. Like, I don't know how they tolerate it. And there's obviously the notorious late people that just are expected to not get there when they're told to. We haven't had too many passport mishaps, but yeah, it's mainly getting everyone there once everything's loaded. And of course, like when you're traveling, we don't travel with stick bags. We have a communal stick bag that everyone chucks their sticks into, and then you carry your shin pads, mouth guard, etc. And so often a lot of people in the home environment won't use a stick bag anymore because they have to replicate that on tour, and so you don't want to be kind of out of sorts, not being out of your stick bag and all of those home comforts. So we travel with a lot of excess luggage, and so we always have weight limits, and notoriously, I don't want to throw the boys out there, but they always go over weight limits. You think girls would, but often boys are like 30-kilo bag instead of a 20-kilo bag. And you're just like, what is happening?
That'd be because there's an Xbox and a PlayStation,
Like,
a coffee machine. Yeah.
I'm like, did you just not read the fine print? So excess luggage is always a huge issue with airlines. But yeah, the transit to Europe's obviously horrific anyway, because you're obviously going through Dubai or Abu Dhabi or whatever. And so until we there, it's just pretty gross. But yeah, all the travel days are pretty much the worst days, I think, to look.
Bar the Tokyo Olympics, which you obviously knew was going to be a very long travel time and waiting times and things like that. Can you remember another trip that was just way too long that you thought?
And anytime we go to Argentina, like, I don't know what way we go to Argentina. Obviously, it's the cheapest way, but it's notoriously like 48 hours of air travel. And like, unfortunately, South Americans aren't their time management, and so planes are often delayed, like buses won't pick us up. So yeah, then they're just accumulating hours waiting for things to happen or to be on. And so anytime we go to Argentina, it's always really, really long and arduous.
What's your pass the time technique? Are you a sleeper? Are you a reader? Are you a gamer?
I'm one of those people that can't sleep on planes. I watch other people sleep. I do Sudokus. I played Minecraft, like, you know, on the screen you can play Minecraft. Yes. I was like really into that sometimes. Yeah, I just cannot sleep on planes. So I'm either watching copious amounts of times of movies or Sudokus or reading a book. So I really get envious of people that can just sleep anywhere. It really interests me.
Well, let's talk about the actual life on tour now. You get to your destination, and let's take out trainings and games, because obviously you're already preparing for that. So what happens in between, let's say after games, before the next game or a training session? What generally happens in between?
It's honestly, unfortunately, so boring, but all people see is the content that's created, because we're all in a group and we're all largely quite bored between trainings and games, because it's not kind of like a European getaway where we do a training game and then can go explore the city. Often you kind of rest, recovery, might have a gym session, you have physio treatment, you have all of that type of stuff. So you're hanging around the hotel. So the content creations and those girls that love creating content really comes out. I was never really one of them. I would somewhat participate in something if I had a really simple role. But where a lot of the TikTok stuff comes out, it makes it seem like we're very busy and living this exciting life, but it is, don't be fooled by social media. It's often created out of boredom. So, we unfortunately spend a lot of time either at the hockey field or at the hotel, just because it's largely the reason we're there is performance-based. So, especially when you get to the end of your career and things are harder and your body's a lot more tired, you spend a lot more time in bed, which is hard in itself.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question is, how do you juggle the socializing with other team members versus like your own time? Because that would be quite difficult. You're away, you're with each other, you just especially if you're a very outgoing person, you want to be with other people, right? Like that's your thing. So how hard is it to juggle that sort of thing?
Yeah, we have pretty much set people each individual can room with, and the fact that you have preferences, and usually they align with the type of person you are. If you're more social, introverted, extroverted, what you like to do in your spare time, personality type. So they do put a lot of thought and effort into that for that exact reason. You don't want to be kind of 3 weeks with an individual that is the total opposite and you guys end up kind of clashing. And so where best as possible, they try and match people up. Obviously, there's an element of there of getting to know different people in the team, because if you never room with someone, you really don't know what you do and don't like about them. But when it gets to major tournaments like the Olympics or Com Games or World Cup, they're really solidified then. And you literally go, no, I will only room with one of two people.
Yeah, nice.
And it's not mean, and I don't think anyone's ever taken it like that, because you're actually looking after the other person as well, to not just nominate someone that wildly out of the blue that you've never roomed with before, and then you both your performances are impacted. So That's step one, I guess. And then there's step two. There's always like some form of coffee catch up in the morning. If we have a free morning, someone will nominate a coffee shop and say, hey, especially in Europe, you can hire a bike. If we'll all ride there, or some of us will ride there. Or if you have parents who go, no, and catch up with our parents instead. So everyone's pretty respectful of here's a coffee shop we're going to, come if you want. So you can opt in or out. So people don't get that kind of overstimulated. I hate around these people.
Yeah.
The tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would imagine that you get a daily like rate that you got like a living expense or something like that whilst you're on tour.
Yeah, we get a per day diem. I get at a yeah, and so if on top of that, if you say there's a meals that day that come out of your own pocket because it's a rest day or something, then you get stuff on top of that. It's not super generous, but that's why we all work outside of hockey as well, to kind of bolster those periods where we are away from work on tour, and kind of supplement that funds. But yeah, most of the time, we're pretty stingy. We'll go, okay, I'll have a coffee today, but I won't spend heaps on lunch or go to the local Aldi or supermarket and get some cheap stuff. Like, you're not living a high life by anything.
No, fair enough. There's no, what do I see the NFL teams do? Just the credit card roulette. The credit card roulette.
We're not going to the state.
Well, let's round it out. Clearly, the travel time is the worst thing about going on tour. But what is the best thing about being on tour for you?
I think, and this probably come more retrospectively, is just being able to be in a different country doing a sport you love doing. Like, it is so rare for someone to travel to do a sport they love, and it's not at your own expense. So I think it's a huge privilege that we get to do that in Australia, and then see all these amazing countries play these amazing hockey teams, see these new cultures. And I think on reflection, and even at the time, like, that is like such a surreal experience and undervalued. I think as an athlete, you're so focused on performance at the time, and you're just focused so solely on your performance, the team's performance, the tournament, scouting. So it gets really overshadowed at the time, and the anxiety that comes along with that. But huge privilege now looking back, and now I'm looking at trying to play Masters for Australia, and now I'm having to fork out my own money.
Yes. Yeah.
So that in hindsight is probably the most incredible part of it all.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Well, that's Inside the Circle tour edition, getting to know what life is like with the Hockeyroos and Kookaburras on their tours of Europe and India and South America. Okay, Jane, last but not least of the show, extra time this week. And obviously with Oceania Cup coming up, Australia and New Zealand, it has been Fiji and Samoa in previous editions of the Oceania Cup. However, probably unfair for them to be a part. As much as we would love to celebrate them playing hockey and being part of the game, it's not fair for them to go up against Australia and New Zealand. So my extra time topic this week is, should Oceania join Asia as part of the World Cup qualifiers? So the Asia-Oceania sort of cup, I suppose, similar to how football or soccer do it. So obviously the Socceroos and the Matildas for Football Australia have joined Asia, and they play essentially like a Oceania Asia Cup. So should it be the same for hockey?
Yeah, this has been a hot topic, and I know especially in Europe, they often make comment about how easy our path is to qualify for the Olympics or World Cup. And obviously in Europe, like, I'm not volunteering to be part of that, because
I know, it's intense.
Extremely hard. That is extremely hard. But my always rebuttal to them is like, okay, what happens down in Africa then? Like, we've got two of the top 10 teams in one small region. They do not. And they get one qualification spot out of it. And so I'm always like, well, if they have to, then they get their own little tournament. Then until they move and be part of some other region, then that's my only rebut to it. And as soon as they stop that, then I don't know.
It's not strong, but it's fair.
That's not strong. It's not strong by any means. But yeah, it would be interesting to kind of merge with Asia. It would obviously, I think, make it way more competitive. And I know the Asian Games is held in high regard by all that
Yeah.
attend. So, but it would actually be quite cool. I think how they put on games is pretty lavish.
Yes, it is going on at the moment, and for the men anyway. And it'd be a tough tournament for Australia and New Zealand, right? Like India, Pakistan, Malaysia, Korea, they're all there. Japan, of course. I think we would make it. It would level it out with Europe, right? Like if we're really thinking about the top countries in the world, unfortunately, Africa probably don't have a nation. South Africa would obviously be the closest, so or the highest ranked, I would guess. South America probably okay, I guess. Like it's they're the Americas, so it's North America and South America, so they are technically combined. So I think it would be better. It would probably be you would obviously have to open up more positions, but I think it would be a fantastic tournament. Like imagine having. I mean, if we were able to hold that in Australia, like that would be wonderful. Like imagine the hockey would be
incredible.
elite.
And you could also like do a hockey fives at the same time. The Asian nations and Oceania Asia countries that participate in that, because Fiji, Samoa all have hockey fives teams, so that could coincide at the same time in some degree. So yeah, it would be cool. Maybe once Hockey WA have their new stadium.
Yeah, don't mind it. Well, there you go. Jane and I are probably sitting on the fence, I guess. So I would like. I'd
like to see it, but from a player perspective, I would hate it.
Yes, I can understand the players not wanting. Like it's hard enough playing India at a tournament rather than having to play them to actually get to the tournament. Yeah, so I think as good, it would be fantastic hockey, but I can understand from a player point of view that you're happy playing New Zealand to qualify for the Olympics or the World Cup. But I think it's something that should definitely be considered. It's happening, like we said, with football or soccer. And I think it probably makes a bit more sense. But we're not those people who make those decisions, Jane. So I'm happy for having an Oceania Cup, and I'm happy for it to be up here in Darwin where I am. And I'm happy for it to be live on 7plus and for everyone to get down and watch, keeping it obviously alternatively in each of the countries. Well, that's our show, Jane. That is a first, obviously, the online show. So big thanks to Zach, Michaela and Carly back at Hockey WA who have put this together and have put together all our episodes. They do a wonderful job. Jane and I just, they put together a run sheet for us. We just turn up and talk rubbish, really, and give you the insights and our opinions. So big kudos and thanks to the team at Hockey WA for what they're doing all season. Love what you guys are doing. But as always, we will be back next week. We will have basically the finals run in, and we'll be preparing for the Hockey WA dinner for the Olympians medalists and Charlesworth medalists, plus a host of other awards to be announced. Jane and I will be hosting it, so we're pretty excited for a live episode of the Hockey Hour. Maybe.
Who knows?
But it's been a wonderful season so far. With the finals are to come. Of course, make sure you keep up to date with everything going on over the finals series. I know all the other grades outside of the Premier grades have their finals going on at the moment. So all the best of luck to all the teams that are still in. But make sure, hit us up on Instagram, Jane or I, or on our messenger if you know us, or on Hockey WA's Instagram, and get into the mailbag. Ask us all the questions you like. We are very happy to answer them for you. So great to do this once more, and we will be back next week for another exciting episode of the Hockey Hour.